Shabbat Shalom again, and I want to wish a happy birthday today to Debbie Hitsky. Yom Huledet Sameach, Mazel Tov. Tomorrow to Mark Roth. Yom Huledet Sameach, Mazel Tov. Danny Friedman, Dylan Friedman, Roz Garver, Natalie Katkowski, Ryan Brickner, Marv Zucker, Ray Yanitz, Lawrence Gadd, Morris Brown, Eliezer Vergen, Benjamin Shane, and Ian Sherman. Mazel Tov, happy birthday to everybody. I want to thank everybody who helped make services happen today. Leading off, Jeff Kirsch, Reb Mark Sussman was there and will continue to lead us all the way through. Our Torah reader, Jerry Cohn, our Gabbai on the Bima, Gordy Barris, Gabbai on the digital side is Hannah Carroll, and our floor captains were Alan and Debbie Hitsky. Thank you all for making it all happen. Our Haftorah reader, Jack Light, also. So I want to start with the question, what would you say is at the core of the Torah? What is it that's the essence of the 5 books of the Torah? And of course, there are many answers that may live concurrently with one another, but I want to hear, what is the essence of Torah? What is the base? What is it made up of? Guidelines for life. Okay? Somebody else, anybody else, want to either refine that or add something else?
Some history in it.
History. Okay?
I would say it's a relationship with God.
A relationship with God. It documents a relationship with God?
Right? That's basically, I say, I am the Lord your God. I would sum up the Torah.
I am the Lord your God would sum up the Torah. Okay?
Dictates how we should treat others.
Dictates how we should treat others. Okay? By we, do you mean Jews or do you mean humanity? Humanity, okay? Rabbi Pachter says you have to kill a lot of people if you follow those rules. How to treat them. He didn't say to be kind, he just said how to treat them. Okay. What? Family. Okay, family is at the basis of Torah. Yes, yes. How to build a mishkan, a tabernacle, and how to make sacrifices. Anybody else? Explanations of things like the story of Noah's Ark, okay? So I think that there's pieces of definitely everything, but I asked you all to pick one thing that you saw as the basis. Well, it may be an oversimplification. There are 2 sides to every genre of Jewish literature, whether it's the Torah and the rest of the Bible, the Tanakh, the classical rabbinic literature of the Mishnah, the Talmud and the Midrash, the medieval commentaries later on, the Hasidic writings, more modern writings. There are 2 sides or 2 groupings that we can put all of the literature in. Halakha, Jewish law or guidelines on how we live, and Agadah, Jewish story or narrative. Halakha and Agadah. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel teaches in his book, Between God and Man, quote, Halacha deals with details, with each commandment separately. Agadah deals with the whole of life, the totality of religious life. Halacha deals with the law. Agadah deals with the meaning of the law. Halacha deals with subjects that can be expressed literally, and Agadah introduces us to a realm that lies beyond the range of expression. And yet, until this very moment today, in the Torah, we have existed only on one side of that coin, one side of the balance scale. Until now, we've experienced the Torah completely in the world of Agadah, the myths, the stories, all those things that make up the eternal tapestry that's the basis of the Jewish soul. And the rabbis of our tradition asked, why? Why through the entire book of Genesis and the first 11 chapters of Exodus have we only had stories? If the Torah has laws of how to live, then why is over a fifth of it just stories? Rabbi Isaac, Rabbi Yitzchak in the Talmud, in the Midrash says, the Torah is the law book of Israel, and it should have begun with the verse in today's Torah reading, HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodashim Rishon hu lachem Chodshei Hashanah. This month shall be unto you the first of the months. Use it to tell the time. Why, asks Rabbi Isaac, why did the Torah start with all this other stuff? Why not just start with the laws? Tell it like it is. Rabbi Isaac continues, and he answers his own question. He says, because without the background, without the depth of meaning that the narrative can provide, there's no basis to follow the laws. Without God painting a picture of how the world came into being through God's love and power, then why should we, or anybody else for that matter, follow the Word of God? The Agadah, the stories, the narrative, provides the why, so that when we encounter the halacha, we see how it fits together, and we desire to cleave to it because we understand the basis. In chapter 12, we're introduced to this new concept of ritual. Ritual that's not done out of one's own free will, but rather it's done because God says so. You see, back in Genesis, our ancestors took part in ritual. It says something happened and Jacob or Isaac or Abraham built an altar and made a sacrifice. Even Noah made a sacrifice to God, not because they were commanded to, because they wanted to. All of a sudden, we're given ritual that is told to us to do, that is commanded, and they're given to the entire community, all of Israel. They're given to all of Israel to understand that through a communal acceptance and performance and adherence to the laws surrounding the ritual, the community could stay together. The Torah understands that without a commitment to a normative set of behaviors for the observance of ritual, no matter how convincing the narrative behind it, the ritual and subsequently the narrative will not last. If you don't have a communally accepted ritual to concretize the narrative will disappear. The Torah understands that as the Israelite slaves must transform into a community and a nation to carry on the torch of liberation and freedom, they had to be bound by a shared ritual outlined by specific rules. And I ask you to let the Torah make a case for this. Why do we eat matzah? What's the narrative behind our eating matzah for 7 days? Why? What? That we don't forget what? that we had to leave in a hurry, that we don't forget that we have to leave in a hurry. That's the narrative. Then why in Exodus 12:14 does it say, this day shall be to you one for remembrance. You shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord throughout the ages. You shall celebrate it as an institution for all times. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, matzot. On the first day you shall remove the leaven from your houses. Whoever eats leavened bread from the first day to the seventh day shall be cut off from the people Israel. That's in verse 14. 23 verses later, 23 verses later, it says, and then they baked unleavened cakes of dough they had taken out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, since they were driven out in a hurry and could not let it rise. Wait a second. If the reason that we are eating matzah is because of the story that the dough couldn't rise, then why does the commandment come before the story? Why?
That's the way they assembled it. The editors of the Bible of Moses, stuff. We talked about something many years ago and before many years ago, and they mixed them all together.
Okay, so there's one idea that the Talmud says, "Ein mukdamu meuchar b'Torah." There is, we can't say just because one verse comes later that it didn't actually come before, or vice versa. Okay, you could say it by Talmudic idea, or you could say it academically, that the editors of the Torah mishmashed it together. I want to say yes and yes, but there's a reason they put it before. There's a reason that the commandment had to come before the narrative. Say again?
I was going to say, not 70 Shema.
Na'aseh v'nishma, meaning first you have the law and then the why. First you do it and then you understand why. But wait a second. We just had an entire book of the Torah plus 11 verses giving us the why and the why and the why and the why and why with no rules at all. So why all of a sudden is there a switch? Why here is the first time that we have the law before the why? Thank you. Because now we have a people, and a people cannot live on story alone. A people have to have a communally accepted set of laws. The Torah understood this. And it said you've got to have guidelines between which you walk. How do you say Jewish law in Hebrew? Halakha. What is the root of halakha? Is holech, to walk. Halakha, Jewish law, is the way we walk. It's not just a set of laws and books. It is the way we walk as the Jewish people. And yet, in our modern world, where we want everyone to feel comfortable with whatever they decide to do, however they choose to observe, to be validated in their own choice, we run the very real risk of losing that which binds us together and paves the way to walk forward. If we don't have, and we don't subscribe, and we don't keep the laws, where are we? We're people walking around with a story and nowhere to go. At the same time, there are those amongst the Jewish people that get so wrapped up in fulfilling every last little minute detail of the halakha. How many ounces of matzah was your sheet? Did you eat 3 full sheets of matzah at your last Seder, each under 60 seconds? You think I'm kidding? I did not. You did not? Then you didn't fulfill the halacha down to the detail, Mr. Whalen, Vice President Whalen. Neither did I, by the way.
You're both fired.
Let's go, Kevin. He just fired us. Let's go.
Yes, we should go.
What? Mark, get back on the bima. You really want to do that? Halacha by necessity treats the law in the abstract, regardless of the totality of the person. It's the agada that keeps reminding us of the purpose of performance. To maintain the essence of Judaism consists exclusively of halakha is erroneous, as to maintain the essence of Judaism consists exclusively of agadah. I'll end with a debate in the Talmud for Mark Roth, because he loves Talmudic debates. Rav said the world was created for the sake of David, so he could sing hymns and psalms of the heart to God. Agadah. And Shmuel said, no, the world was created for the sake of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, so that he could receive the Torah and give us the laws. Rabbi Heschel comments on that and says, there is no halakha without agadah, and there is no agadah without halakha. We must neither disparage the body nor sacrifice the spirit. The body without the spirit is a corpse. The spirit without a body is a ghost. Thus, a mitzvah is both a discipline and an inspiration, an act of obedience, an experience of joy. Our task is to learn how to maintain a harmony between the demands of halakha and the spirit of agadah. Shabbat shalom.